Honourable members, the value added tax amendment
You can
bill
actually even give the shadow to read it. If
2024,
combine.
the background has been given by the main report when it was brought here, and the agencies that we interacted with. I don't have to go through that. The main issues in this bill: if your employer, mainly the manufacturer, donates to you items, the bill requires him or her to pay VAT on them. And we want to give examples because we are not legislating only for ourselves. So you work in Coca-Cola, they give you 100 crates of soda for your wedding. The bill now says they must tax them.
Tax a donation?
Yeah, that's what the bill says. Because companies and manufacturers...
And who pays the one who is giving you the donation?
Yeah, so the companies now...
Where is the minister?
Madam, can I read the report?
You first wait.
So,
You
so
first start. You start. You start.
Madam Speaker, we have picked issues, those of us who are opposed to part of the bill, that we think we need to draw parliamentary attention to them and the public. The first issue is that the bill says, if your employer, say a manufacturer, donates to you item, he is now required to pay VAT on them. For example, if you have a wedding, like a colleague said here, and
like
Coca-Cola...
Parliament gives you a car, so Parliament should pay VAT.
That's different because they are looking at the...
For trading?
Yes.
Okay, for trading, manufacturing.
So...
Taxable goods.
So if they give you 100 crates of soda, or you have a wedding, or you have a function, or you've lost someone, now the bill says the government will tax your employer who is giving you those items. The amendment also is introducing a penalty. I think the committee now...
exempt.
Yeah, I think here we agree with the committee. The second point, but I simply wanted to draw your attention to it. The third...
Enos, I want you to bring your clarification after he has read. After he has read.
But he's on the committee.
Even if we only cover this one bill, let's go slow on this.
You see, Enos is a member of the committee. He has signed a majority report, which means we disagree. I don't know why he's restless.
We are looking at areas of dissent.
Yes. So, Madam Speaker, the third issue is the amendment moving agricultural inputs such as the whole pesticide. So these issues, I simply wanted to draw the attention of Parliament to them. Now I go to the issues of disagreement.
What's wrong with those items?
No, there is nothing wrong with them, but we thought we needed to draw Parliament's attention to them, that that's what they are in this bill. Now I go to the substantial issues of disagreement. The first, non-compliance with the law. The second, absence of comprehensive tax policy and the timing of these amendments. The third, no study, no research. The fourth is penalty for not withholding tax. And I'll start with non-compliance. The Public Finance Management Act makes it a requirement that every bill presented to Parliament shall be accompanied by a certificate of financial implication. This certificate under Section 76 of the Act states shall indicate the estimates of revenue and expenditure over a period of not less than 2 years after the coming into effect of the bill when passed. The certificate shall indicate the impact of the bill on the economy. This, in simple terms, means total amount to be spent on implementation of the law and the expected revenue. In this case, the cost of correcting the new taxes vis-a-vis amount realized. Government committed itself to balance the need for revenue correction and economic growth. You don't just close down businesses or threaten to close them over failure to pay taxes without looking at the other factors. That's what government committed itself to. For example, you can close a company and you lose 100 jobs. So you will have lost the tax you want to recover, but you also have lost a job. For example, Game was closed because it didn't pay 23 billion. So they didn't pay the money after all they closed, but also the jobs were lost to them. So that's why the law requires that you look at the implication of every proposal to the economy. The certificate of financial implication, the Honorable Matia Kasaija issued, dated March 27, just 1 day before running to Parliament, was presented before running to Parliament, doesn't meet these requirements. It reads, and I have attached the certificates for you to read. Since this is an amendment to existing tax provisions, there is no expenditure plan specifically different from the overall allocation of 619 billion for the financial year 2024-2025 and shillings 534 billion for the financial year 2025-2026 to Uganda Revenue Authority. This is the certificate the minister issued for all the 5 tax bills. I don't want to invite you to debate in anticipation. I am only inviting your attendance that you will find the same certificate. They are just changing names and dates. The only change is the name of the bill. No wonder all the 5 certificates were signed on the same day and 1 hour. The minister doesn't know how much it will cost to correct the new tax proposals. If he knows, he doesn't want to tell Parliament as it is required in the law. He, without any study, concludes that this new measure in this amendment will yield an estimated 74 billion. That's what the minister says. No study, nothing. He says he wants to raise 74 billion through these amendments to the VAT Act. The Domestic Revenue Mobilization Strategy Annual Monitoring Plan for financial year 2020 to 2023 observed, like the committee said, majority of the tax law amendments are not informed by tax-related analytical briefs. This is what this Kasaija certificate confirms. Yet the same minister, in his letter introducing the Domestic Revenue Mobilization Strategy for Uganda 2019 up to 2024, committed to end arbitrariness. He said, and I want to quote the minister, in order to achieve our revenue potential, please listen, we will move away from ad hoc annual tax policy changes. These piecemeal adjustments with little alignments to an overarching strategy have created a high degree of unpredictability and uncertainty in our tax policy direction. The Domestic Revenue Mobilization Strategy will address this, as well as ensure that our future tax policy embodies the principles of simplicity, fairness, citizen welfare, and sustainability. This is what the minister said. They were no longer running the way they are running. I don't know. This is the commitment, forgive my spelling there, the minister made to the country in writing. This Parliament must hold this minister to his commitment that they will no longer run with small amendments here. They will now, after comprehensive policy review and study, come here because of the reason he said this causes to the economy. The certificate doesn't show the overall impact of the tax proposals on the economy, Moreover, Parliament, as our colleagues in the majority observed, recommended that in addition to all these commitments and the law, every bill should be accompanied by a standalone evaluation or regulatory impact assessment. I go to point number 2. There is no comprehensive taxation policy in Uganda. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, on May 5th, 2022, concerns were raised by Honorable Javira Semwang, MP Buyamba, regarding the absence of a comprehensive taxation policy in Uganda. This concern stemmed from the realization that the domestic revenue mobilization strategy formulated by the Minister of Finance in 2020 lacked a well-documented taxation policy. Consequently, Parliament on the same day, 5th May 2022, passed a motion urging the government to develop a comprehensive policy on taxation. Unfortunately, Right Honorable Speaker and members, up to now, this government every financial year introduces tax bills without a taxation policy in place. This approach, the Honorable Speaker, grants this government unchecked discretion in determining which taxes to impose, which amounts, timing, and targets. Often this leads to unfair taxation that disproportionately burden the impoverished citizenry. During the debate, one of the members who has now signed the majority, the Honorable Kateshumba Dixon, former Commissioner for Domestic Taxes, stated, and I want to quote here what he stated. Yes, we need to base our tax decisions on a structured policy, rather than relying on ad hoc negotiations. This approach will enable us to uphold the principles we aim for and foster investment within our country. That's what the Honorable Kateshumba said here. I don't know which Kateshumba now has signed the majority report. The Honorable Asumani Basalirwa, President of Jema and MP for Bugiri Municipality, echoed similar sentiments, emphasizing that effective legislation on taxation is typically preceded by a well-established policy framework. He highlighted the existence of numerous taxation laws that lack proper policy guidelines. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, in the absence of such a comprehensive taxation policy, the hands of this Parliament are tied. Solution is to ask government to withdraw their bills and return when they are ready. I don't know how long you want to continue babysitting adults like Honorable Kasaija and Honorable Musajja and the company. Because you made a proposal and told them to go and do these things. They have now returned without doing them. They are saying, go ahead.
You're clapping on babysitting Kasaija.
Yeah.
Your grandfather.
I said you are babysitting adults.
No,
that's why
I'm saying Goretti.
the minority is complaining. Timing of new tax proposals. Right Honorable Speaker, there is already instability in the tax sector, as the main reporter has reported. Traders have just opened their shops. There is a general feeling of overtaxation with very little to show for it in terms of social services. Roads in Kampala City, Kampala metropolitan districts of Wakiso, Mukono, Mpigi, and other areas in the country have completely broken down. There is a general cry that leaders are swimming in luxury at the expense of taxpayers. The other day, Parliament approved a supplementary budget of 1.1 trillion, including 576 billion that was gifted to Matthias Magola. What do you think citizens will feel about this, that you are collecting to give away? This needs to be addressed before any new tax measure is proposed. We need to restore confidence. Stability is a key principle in taxation. Taxes should be introduced at least every 5 years. That's why the Minister of Finance committed himself to do. Not annually like it is with this government. If the country is still crying with the implementation of existing taxes, is your answer to impose new ones? Why don't we first deal with the leakage, corruption, and use the savings to finance the budget rather than thinking of new tax measures? You, Parliament, you are going to be blamed for new taxes as you are blamed for the old ones. For once, you can say no to them. I can skip the penalty for not withholding. Later, we reach the consensus. This is my report. You're asking why. Did I ask you why you included that? Tax on donated items. I have referred to this. I think here we are being inhuman. How do you impose a tax on items that have not been sold? We are in a way stopping companies and manufacturers from incentivizing their workers. If an employee of Coca-Cola has a wedding or a funeral, and the company donates 100 crates, why charge the company VAT? This I am asking Parliament to reject. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, we have attached the certificate of financial implication. Members may not have picked a copy for you to see that actually this is not better than a cheat. We have also attached a letter from the Honourable Minister Musajja and highlighted the specific paragraph in which he said the government will no longer now come to Parliament with piecemeal amendments like this. This is a letter from the Minister. I hope you can go up where we have highlighted, which is the third paragraph. But you can read because we made sure. Yeah, I think that is it, Right Honourable Speaker. This Parliament has no option.
Thank you.
But to tell the Minister to follow the law.
Thank you.
When he does, I will gladly come here and we begin debating and supporting.
Nathan.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, if you allow, you can allow me a second, my colleague. See, what you have just witnessed here is exactly what happened when the committee was processing these bills. And I sympathize with my colleagues that you are assigned to chair committees, you the NRM side. In fact, they made the same observation, and one MP, I will not say the name, these are in-house, he was saying, but with that observation, the bill has collapsed. He said, hey, how do we improve the observation? Even the observation was edited. Let them deny if they did not edit their own.
Order.
Madam Speaker, sometimes we allow our colleagues space, but they must not misuse it. You earlier here, when you are asked about the prices of fuel, you said the law of supply and demand is what applies. Last year, you wanted the law changed so you can become a monopoly and import petroleum. Had you forgotten that the law of supply should apply there? So is the minister in order to come here and deny that sometimes he tells lies to Parliament? Is he in order?
Honorable, as I go to the final issue, which is legal, I just want to really emphasize to government, the reason we are insisting on this is because a policy gives you direction. Last year, you brought an amendment to this same act. This year, you've brought another one. Which direction do you move in? Because once there is no clear policy, then we shall be operating using the word that I was using earlier on in a haphazard manner and so on. That's why we are insisting on this policy. It will help you also. Because when we are tasking you to say, where does that come from? You say, but here is a taxation policy from which it is emanating. But now this is coming out of the blue. Lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, the legal issue is regarding the certificate of financial implication. Actually, both reports are in consonance to say that this certificate of financial implication, a copy of which I have here, is defective. They only disagree on the resolution. Right Honourable Speaker, with your indulgence, let me just read the two subsections of the Public Finance Management Act, verbatim, so that we know it's a serious issue. This is section 76, firstly, subsection 2. The certificate of financial implications issued under subsection 1 shall indicate the estimates of revenue and expenditure over the period of not less than 2 years after the coming into effect of the bill when passed. That is missing. And here we are talking the law, not politics. Subsection 3. In addition to the requirements under subsection 2, the certificate of financial implications shall indicate the impact of the bill on the economy. That is not here in this certificate of financial implications. And I'm quoting for you the law. So in essence, this is defective, and both reports do agree. Right Honourable Speaker, we've got a precedent that was set last week. There are bills that had to be thrown out. The Honourable Kasolo was here, and we tasked him and told him the certificate of financial implications that he had was defective. He had to go back and sort himself out. We need to be smart and organized, even legally. The minister should be withdrawing this bill, goes back, puts his house in order, and then we comply with the law. Because we are not going to suspend this particular provision of the law, Section 76 of the PFMA. We actually don't have the mandate to suspend. We can only suspend our rules. But acts of parliament, they are acts of parliament. They are law. So I want to implore the minister who is not listening. Maybe I give him a minute. I'm glad that the gentlemen are letting go of the speaker so that this point is delivered home. Mr. Attorney General and Finance Minister, this is for you.
Honorable members, we are not suspending. Just sit. Honorable members, there are things we need to hear from the Minister of Finance. On the first part, he has done very well. He has complied. He has made his commitment. I am telling him he should reduce the time of his commitment. Yes?
Right Honourable, while the gentlemen were consulting with you, there's an issue that I raised, which if you allow me in a minute to re-raise it so that it's drawn to their attention and to yours, Right Honourable. No, the defectiveness of the certificate of financial implications. I was
communicating what I was communicating to the minister, that he has to come on the floor and clarify to you on the issue of the certificate of financial institution.
Okay, because it's defective.
I mean, a financial implication. He's the one to respond, not me.
So finally, Right Honourable, I was actually quoting a precedent which we set last week. We had to throw out the Honourable Kasolo's bill until he reorganized the certificate of financial implications so that we follow the process smoothly as the law does prescribe. Otherwise, people are going to take us to court. You know, we have law students who are in law school studying how acts of parliament come into effect, how legislation is done. So when we have precedents that are not in consonance with the law, it's also not good for us.
Maybe I'm just fortunate that I've never had this lie. Because he's a Muchiga.
Madam Speaker, to cut the wrong story short.
Attorney General is standing.
I'm a Ugandan. Attorney Speaker, on the issue of policy, we all know that Cabinet is the policy-making organ of government. But we also know that the National Planning Authority plans, incubates, researches, and helps us formulate policy as a government. So there is a process, and that process takes time. It is unfortunate if that incubation is haphazardly done, and what is presented before you as you demand is riddled with insufficiency and holes. It is not true So I wanted to say that indeed there is a policy, there is a process for making this policy. And when the time is right, Cabinet, the instrument will present that policy. will pass that policy and bring it to the House. It would be wrong for this House to push Cabinet to present a policy that is still under incubation. The policy can only be presented when it is ready and proper. I beg to submit.
Honorable members, we are almost there. We've almost resolved all the legal issues in the act, in the bill. Now, the issue that is outstanding is on the compliance of the law, and which you just need to explain to this House. You need to explain to this House. Katesh, do you have what to say? Do you?
Right Honourable Speaker, I just wanted to give information so that the members can debate from a proper technical point of view on the issue which Honourable Ssemujju raised it, about the donations.
That one has been sorted.
We are in agreement.
Okay. You know, honourable members, you'll bear with me, even if there are people who are members of the committee. But when I know if it is a Honourable Nathan, I know he's a member of the committee, and when it comes to taxation, I will allow him to speak. When it comes to Katesh, when it comes to this, you are a VAT, Elijah Kasilo was there. Those are people who are managing it. Then, of course, the shadow. Yes. Another tax.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I do hear the Deputy Attorney General when he says that we for now should accept what is half-baked.
Half-baked.
Because he said that we are dissatisfied. Actually, the words he used is that what you bring here has got holes and so on. Those are the words he used.
No.
I'm actually re-echoing the words that the Deputy Attorney General used, because
let's use the real words that are being used.
Let me use the real words that he used.
There is an order.
This is Parliament, a national legislature. I do understand that at times we have our own banter, but there is a cropping consistency of disrespect. I do respect the leader of opposition. Last week, he responded to me and said, you should compose yourself. He said it. It is on record. I don't know where it came from. And now he's saying something similar to that. Madam Speaker, I know the words I used and they are on record. I said Parliament should not push Cabinet to present a haphazard policy. I said the policy is still under incubation. Is it in order for the Right Honourable Leader of Opposition to regularly want to put words in my mouth, impute words that I have not spoken? Is it in order?
Of course, really, honourable members, we need to appreciate what Daga is saying. He says, yes, we need a policy here. And he's saying that the policy they want to bring should be a policy that has been completely done, that will meet the test of time, not bring something that is incomplete. And that's what he meant. But when you say that he said half-cooked, half-baked, half-cooked, it is not correct. It is not correct, you're wrong, leader of opposition.
Actually, right Honourable Speaker, in fact, when I use the word half-baked, I am wrong. This one is not even baked at all because there's no policy at all. So I'm wrong when I say half-baked. This one is not baked at all. And what I wanted to drive to, right Honourable
It
Speaker.
depends, because for me I cannot say whether it is baked, half-baked, or it is in the process, because we don't sit in a cabinet. Now, a leader of opposition maybe sits in that cabinet.
Right Honourable Speaker, really to get to the serious issue, I actually wanted to drive government to commit. When do we get to have the comprehensive taxation policy?
Exactly.
So that we stop this back and forth, half-baked, not baked at all, and so on. We need to have
now you're talking as a leader of opposition.
No, but even the other time I was talking as leader of the opposition, right Honourable? So that we are able to hold them accountable. Because you see, the Honourable Musajja, he has just denied that last year he did not promise us this. So we want, whether it be him, the Prime Minister is not around, we need a proper commitment. When does this come?
We need a commitment
Madam Speaker, today, this year, I have made a commitment that we shall bring a comprehensive tax policy before this House. And by end of this year, we shall have presented this policy to this House.
You know, honorable members, you're still here. If he doesn't bring, by end of this year, it's just 6 months away. But it's just 6 months away. He will bring it. If he doesn't, we hold him accountable.
I want to thank the leader of opposition for insisting, and we have got something from my brother Musajja. The reason we're asking for a tax policy is taxes must be predictable. If they are not predictable, you can see why people are striking. It's because they are not so sure. Even they could be a good tax, but if you have not told people, they will not understand. Madam Speaker.
And then administration of it.
Yes, and Madam Speaker, world over, when you are going to change a tax, it takes 5 years. But for us here, because of lack of the tax policy, you wake up at night, you bring it in Parliament, in a few minutes, it has been passed. And that's why we're having a problem, even in taxation. And that's why even we're creating inefficiency in URA. Whenever they discover something is becoming hard for them to collect, they just bring a law here for us to make for them the law so that they go and sit in their back instead of enforcing, and we're paying them salaries. So, Madam Speaker, if the minister is saying at the end of the year, I think this is a problem. You see, there should be something you should be putting across. For purpose of a tax policy to be out very well, it needs a wide consultation. Now, if you have done that, why don't you say, within 1 week, I can bring a draft to the House to see how far we have gone. And it will help. And Maxwell is here will agree with me. That's the best way to move. Before this budget say, this is how we have gone, and that's how we believe that within 6 more months, this will be a policy out, but this is the draft where we are. It will help.
Honorable.
Madam Speaker, and I beg the indulgence of colleagues, there is a difference between the bills of last week and these bills we are considering now. These bills are supposed to facilitate the budget for financial year 2024-2025. Just 1 year. You cannot ask me about the projected revenues for 2 years when the bill is for 1 year. And this is why I said that because we have experienced an expectation gap between what Parliament wants us to put in the bill and what we think should be there, Parliament or the law. Putting me on order doesn't give you anything. Clarification. Take it. Clarification. And we'll get a win-win situation. Clarification. No, I can't bash us. Right Honorable Speaker, he allowed my clarification.
Honorable members.
Right Honorable Speaker, the reason not every single person presents a policy on taxation or proposes a tax on this floor of Parliament is based on pardon? Because you must research the incidents, the impact and everything.
Motion, Madam Speaker. The motion, Madam Speaker, is that
Honorable
we adjourn.
members, please first wait. You are the ones who are saying that we must handle this thing systematically. Eh? Honorable members, can I have, honorable members, can I have what have you resolved? Honorable members, I will ask the Minister of Finance, Shadow, you. I will ask the Minister of Finance. I will ask the Minister of Finance, Shadow, both Attorney Generals. Constitutional this side, and Government Chief Whip plus Nathan. Go and harmonize. Go and harmonize. Honorable members. Honorable members, go and harmonize and come and report back to the House. Jonah, you are a constitutional. I said, and chairperson, yes. I am giving you people 30 minutes to go and harmonize as we go for lunch. And once Nathan, did you hear that I'm giving you for 30 minutes? Yes. So go and harmonize. I am suspending the House for 30 minutes.
Uganda Eyenkya.